Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Dave, W3DJS, and this is the Tuesday night GARS workshop for March 16, 2021. And we have a very special presentation today. Rich Donahue is one of the original ham radio YouTubers out there, and one that I personally learned a lot about my ICOM 7300 from. In the last 5 years, Rich has put together over 350 YouTube videos and articles covering the ICOM 7300, the ICOM 7610, and amateur radio software programs. He also hosts a website, www.k0pir.us, which covers ham radio topics such as the ICOM 7300. Anyway, as we've just learned, the ICOM 7300 has a permanent spot in his camper, and he enjoys experimenting with various antennas. He's going to give us a talk tonight about improving your portable and RV mobile operation. And I'm going to go ahead and make Rich the co-host so he's able to present to the screen. There you go, Rich.
Okay, thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to meet you and everybody else on here. I'm kind of looking at everybody. I got a bunch of little boxes. It kind of looks like Hollywood squares, but yeah, it's a great format. I've enjoyed doing it, and although I haven't done a lot of them, I'm a little familiar with Zoom. And as I mentioned, I just got back from a trip in Arizona and New Mexico, and I've been traveling more the past year or year and a half. Last year, about this time, I got to go down the Quartz site in Quartz Fest. They postponed it this year. They had a little get together, but it was postponed. They didn't have any seminars. So Quartz Fest, that's a real interesting one out in Arizona, out in the desert, where everybody gets together in their RVs, and you may have heard about it or seen about it. Everybody, lots of guys get together in their RVs, and it's just a nice get together for ham radio operators. We get seminars from people, and that's where I learned about my solar installation, the one that I have on my camper, because when I got back, that was the first thing I did was put solar panels on my camper. And that's one of the things that helps me to enjoy ham radio. There's nothing more frustrating than your battery going down right when you need it. So having that solar kit is a big plus, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen, and what I've got is just some information from my website and some YouTube videos that I've done. I won't play the whole videos. I've got little excerpts ready to go, or I'll find them anyway, and just the major points. And you may have seen some of the videos, but maybe you'll pick up something new this time. So I'm going to share my screen, and hope this works okay. And the only thing that I question is when I share my screen, are y'all still hearing me?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And the other is when I play a video, it doesn't start the audio in the video right away. So maybe you could give me a thumbs up if it's working. One of the tools that I've been using over the last year has been this antenna launcher. And I first saw it, Bob Heil had it on his YouTube channel, and he didn't do very much with it. But man, I saw that thing, and I wanted one. He shot an antenna up into a tree 80 feet high. And that's what I wanted, because I always have had trouble getting antennas up in the trees. And we've got some really tall pine trees out here in the western part of South Dakota. So I needed something, and that was it. So I started using it this last year out in the Black Hills, and I've got some information on it, but it's about $100, and it's a dog trainer. the dummy part, there's a white one and there's an orange one. I have the orange one. The dummy part, I took apart the top end and put a bolt into it. So when it comes down through the trees, it won't get hung up. And that's something people have been asking me about, what size bolt. And this is a screw that I put into it, and I just duct taped up the end. I probably need to sew it up. But anyway, that's still how I get them up into the trees, and I'll show you what it looks like. It shoots a 22 blank, so it's kind of loud. I use earplugs. My dog doesn't like it, but it is loud. But this example is in a park in Pierre. This is a public park, and it didn't bother anybody when I was there. Let me go back. And it puts it up in that tree just about the first try every time. So I've used it in the park, I've used it at my house, and I use it out in the forest. And that's where it really comes through, out in the forest. And this is out in the Black Hills, and we have these real tall pine trees, and it is really something. So that's how you shoot it up into a tree. Just aim it and pull the plunger, and I'll give you a little description of it, what it entails. So today I'm going to use this doggone antenna.
I don't hear any audio.
Shoots these 22 blanks, and this is from the yellow box. The yellow box.
Rich, is there any way you can increase the audio on that?
Yeah, does that help?
This thing.
Did that work?
It's better now. It's better now.
That back.
Let me go back here.
I added a weight to the top, and I don't remember what weight it is. I'm using a medium load. It shoots these 22 blanks, and this is from the yellow box. I think it's a medium load, but it's the yellow box, and it'll shoot it up probably 50 or 60 feet, maybe higher. To load this thing, just take that back. Put the shell in there, and then close it up. You want to turn that away from you when you shoot it, and they tell you to hold it down here, and I can't hold it down there and shoot it, so I hold it up here and shoot it and aim it for where I want it. It's a little loud, so Mr. B, stand back there, buddy. Well, as I was about ready to add some more line to this, I noticed that the cord was kinking up, and that's not good. So I need to lay this out more, and probably the best place is on this road. So I think from right here, I can probably aim it up on that limb, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some more line to this, and then lay it out in rows. Biscuit! He's down there. He couldn't get across the cattle guard, so he's going around. He's far enough away. I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot. So I got it laid out and left my big spool attached just in case. Let's see what happens. I'm going to aim it right up there. Wow! Did you see that? I just got one little limb. Holy cow. Come on, Mr. B. Come on. Good boy. Yeah. I'm glad you were down there, buddy. That was loud, wasn't it? Yeah, man.
So that's the antenna launcher, and that's turned out to be one of my favorite tools. That antenna launcher to get them up in the tree, because if I can get them 50, 60 feet up, just a wire up into a tree, you know, I can talk around the world. I've used my QRP rig with it. I've got an Elecraft KX2. And then later on in this video, I used that Elecraft and made a contact first try, making a contact. I think it was to a guy in Arizona. So yeah, it just seemed so simple to me, but it was difficult for me to kind of grasp it, that the antenna is really the most important part of the station, whether I'm portable or operating from home. If I don't have a good antenna, if it's not up in the air high enough, then it's just not going to do very much good. So I use that, and like I said, I use my Elecraft KX2 out when I'm portable. I use it outside, but I use the 7300 in the camper, and that 7300 with just a wire, up in the air is a good combination. I've used my favorite antenna for 80 meters is just an inverted V, and it's cut for 80 meters. It's actually cut for 80 meters, 80, 75, because I spend a lot of time on that band in the morning, early morning, and some of my favorite nets are on there. So the other type of antenna that I use is, you guys have probably seen people using it. It's just a 9-to-1 un and a random length of wire. I've tried different lengths before, but this is what it looks like. This un and just attach it to the top of the flagpole. I think I had about 50 feet of wire on that one. And that little, the other thing I'll talk about is my antenna analyzer, and that little thing really comes in handy. But with that antenna launcher, boy, I can get them up really high into the tree. And when I get them up this high, I'm the net control for the Breakfast Club in the morning on a few days each week. And I've been able to run the Breakfast Club net and have 30 or 40 check-ins for an hour just using this antenna. And I've done it with that high Q antenna too. That one that's the mobile antenna on the back of the camper. So that's what I enjoy doing, getting on the nets. And 40 meters, I like the nets on 40 meters. I'll scroll down a little bit. This is the other tool. That first one is the dog trainer, and then this antenna analyzer. And you guys have probably seen that because somebody else mentioned in another one I did. There's antenna analyzer. I guess it was in QRZ, one of the magazines, and I can't see the name of it right now. My toolbar's blocking it. Nano VNA, I think it's called Nano VNA, and that's been pretty popular. But the one that I have is a Mini 60, and it gives when I hook it up to my laptop, it will scan. And it just does a real good job. This is that 80 meter that's up in the tree. And like I said, it's cut for 80 meters. So I can see the SWR and where the minimum is. It's at 3.760. So, that tells me I could probably let's see, shorten it up a little bit. If I want to move the point over to 3.8, what I want to do is, with the internal antenna tuner of the 7300, I want to be able to tune the whole band, and that's what I shoot for. So that antenna analyzer, if I go to a place that's like in Arizona, it was all sand, you know, it acted differently. It behaved differently on that 30-foot flagpole that I used in Arizona than from when I use it in a tree. When I use it in a tree really up high, the SWR changes on it because of the size of the angle of the antenna, and I try to keep it around 120 degrees. But if it, for some reason it's, you know, narrower than that, the antenna, the SWR changes on it, and I can use this Mini 60 to adjust it. And man, it just really comes in handy. It's just an invaluable tool. I wouldn't go anywhere without it now. I think I'll get a second one for the house. But that's what one of the scans looks like on it. And then in this video, I'm using that antenna launcher again. And let me see. Let me go ahead and play this one.
Well, here we go. Another trip into the Black Hills over on the Wyoming side. And I'm getting ready to put this random wire up in that tree right there. I think that'll be a good one.
Well, I get that wire up in that tree, and one end's on the flagpole, the other end's in the tree. And then I run a coax down and then into the camper. And when I get it into the camper, I'll hook up that antenna analyzer, and it'll give me you know, the readout on it. Let me see where that is on here. I think it's a little bit further down in the video.
To 1 to 64 un, and I'm using my Mini 60 here, and I've got the PC hooked up to it through the cable, and I'm just running a scan on 40 meters, and I hope you can see that. Looks pretty good. The center is at 7050 7.050, and it's 2.68 at that frequency. And then the minimum SWR is at 7.340. Put the 20 right here and see what happens.
So yeah, after I get the antenna up, I'll hook up that antenna analyzer and see what it says and make any adjustments that I need to make. But between the antenna launcher and that the Mini 60, about the only other thing I need, I carry the regular tools, carry a soldering iron, a battery operated soldering iron, and some solder, and, you know, regular tools. But one thing I missed on this last trip was I didn't take a tape measure with me, and I'm going to put that in my bag. I've got a nice long tape measure. I think it's 300 yards or 300 feet, I guess. But you know, I get out there and I adjust the antennas. I may trim some off, or I may fold some back, and then I don't really have a measurement on it. So the next time I go out, I'm going to take a tape measure. That'll be the next tool in my bag. So that's for the wire antennas. That's what I use: inverted V and then an end-fed, and that's with the ICOM 7300 or the Elecraft radio, the QRP radio. And that QRP radio, it's got an internal tuner, so it works really good with those 9-to-1 unknowns. And the other antenna that I mentioned was that high Q, and it's on the back of my camper. And I've got the parts listed there. but it's permanently attached. I've got a standoff for it. It's rock solid. I lift it up. One of the pipes slides into the other, so it's a telescoping pole. I can raise it when I get to where I'm going. I raise it up, and it works a little bit better than when it's down at a lower level. But at the lower level, I travel with it, and I can still use it if I get into the camper. For lunch, I can still turn it on and use it. I don't need to raise it up. But that's this is the antenna. I'll show you a little bit more of it. It's a really good one. Okay, and I wanted to show you my high-Q antenna. I've got it mounted on a mast here that I got at Menards. It's just conduit, and another one sliding into it. So all I have to do when I get ready to travel is take this pin out and lower it and secure it with the pin. When I get to where I'm going, just raise it up, secure it with the pin, and it's ready to go. It's pretty simple. It's been working really good. I've got some wires I got to take. And yeah, like I said, this one came from a friend of mine down in Florida. This particular antenna, he's a Silent Key now, but he used it on his pickup truck, and I tried it on my Hummer. But it works better on the camper than any other place that I've had it. On my Hummer, I've got a Tar Heel 200A, and I've been this last trip I towed my camper with a pickup truck, and I didn't have any radios in it, not to speak of, just my little handheld. But I'll be adding a radio to the pickup truck later on. And just a little bit more here. Yeah, everybody, pretty much everybody that I know, whether they're using a Raspberry Pi or a laptop for portable use or mobile use, and I use a laptop. And I started on a Raspberry Pi a while back, a few years ago, when the Raspberry Pi 3 came out, and I did use it in my camper for a while. But then I realized Dave has got that really good software for the Raspberry Pi, so I downloaded it and put it on my Raspberry Pi, and I'll be using it next time. It's just something fun to play around with. But let me. The laptop that I was using was a HP Stream, and I have a post on that one. The HP Stream was inexpensive. It was less than $150, and it lasted a long time. I've had it for at least a couple of years, and it is really it's really handled the beating that it takes when I'm operating portable, but it's awful slow. So when I was in Las Cruces, I picked up another laptop, and it's a Microsoft Surface Go. And it's an i5, so it's quite a bit faster, and it just makes operating more enjoyable. But the HP Stream, if I'm going to be operating outside in the weather, that's the one I'm going to be using. I did call the net. Another resource that I use, and some of y'all may have heard of it. It's the SDRs that they have. There's one out in Utah SDR. And when I'm operating portable, if I have data, good data coverage, then I can listen to the SDR in Utah. That's the one that I go to. Go to the one in Utah, and I can check my signal to see if I'm getting out, how well I'm getting out to Utah, and maybe how far the band's stretching out. But when I was in Arizona, I could hear myself on the Utah SDR, and this is in Las Cruces, because down there you don't have any trees, so my antenna launcher didn't do me much good. But I carry a flagpole, and an inexpensive 30-foot flagpole I got from Walmart. I liked it so much, I got another one on the way. And you can see my my inverted V up for 80 meters. It didn't look like an inverted V. Looks like it's pretty wide angle there. And then my end fed up there, and I use the end fed for 40 through well, about 17 meters, because the rest of the bands aren't very good. And you know, one of the neat things that I like about the radio now, the 7300, and you know, just about any other radio, is the digital modes, and especially FT8. Because if I'm not hearing anybody on CW, you know, I'll always hear somebody on FT8, and when I just want to make some contacts, I go to FT8. So this little laptop, it runs FT8, and my logging program's better than the HP Stream. So it'll just make operating more enjoyable. And here's one of the places I was operating from, outside of Las Cruces, and you can see it's social distancing. And if I'm that far apart from other campers, I usually don't have any trouble with their converters. But you know, one of the things I look for when I'm operating, when I'm getting ready to set up, if I'm going to be set up for a few days, one of the things that I definitely take into consideration are other people and where they're located. Are they close to me? The power lines, are they close to me? Can I be seen from the road? There was one spot I didn't really want to be seen from the road, and that was over in New Mexico. But I take those things into consideration. And of course, cellular data, that's always a big deal. It is nowadays anyway. I'll set up in a place that doesn't have any phone service. I'll set up for as long as, you know, a few days, 3 or 4 or 5 days, but not much longer. I just need to get cellular data and be in communication with my friends. And let's see, the last part that I'll go over finally is well, no, there's 2 other parts. The grid tracker. Let me show you that real quick. And I don't remember if Dave put grid tracker. Grid tracker will work on Linux, and it works on the Mac. I think it works on everything.
Grid tracker is included on HamPi.
Yeah, I thought I saw it on there. Yeah, and it's just a real neat program. I like it. I just started using it maybe 6 months ago, and I've been learning more about it. The more I use it, the more I learn. But it's a good companion for WSJTX. So if you're into that mode, if you're into FT8, you know, grid tracker is a good way to search and pounce if you're looking for grid squares. And it's just got a beautiful interface. I'll go down a little bit. I've got all the screen captures, and it doesn't really matter what radio you've got. I use the 7300 and the 7610 at home, but I use that Elecraft KX2, and I've got a little sound card I plug in to my I was plugging it into my HP Stream, and I haven't used it with this new laptop, so that'll be something new for me. But grid tracker runs real good. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's not very CPU intensive. So we can take a look at that. Let me see where I need to go in here. Okay, we'll take a look at the beginning of this one. Go ahead and click OK. And here with log for the old man and WSJTX. Doesn't this have a nice map? I really like it. I'll show you how I have it installed. That's you know, the way that it is, the map and all of what it does for FT8 it's really impressive. And get down here a little bit and show you what it looks like when you're operating. Return the call. let's see. So I got 2 of them calling me, and it's showing each one of them. This is W8RJC, and this is the Kilo India 4, and he's down here. So he's calling me. There's a little circle there, and that indicates he's the calling station. He's the one transmitting right now. Go ahead and click OK. And there was another station in there, W8. Go ahead and give him a call. He sent a 73, so I'm going to go ahead and call the W8 station, W8RJC. And that logging window popped up pretty quick. I'll pause here and show you what it looks like. Same window that in WSJTX that you always have. Okay, yeah, I'm putting out 50 watts. I'm on the Alpha Delta. It's not real good conditions this morning. You know, well, that's pretty strong signal from me. I sent him a minus 14. It's still had a pretty strong signal in there. So that's the way to do it. I logged it, and if I go over to log for the old man and pull it up, it'll have these last 2 stations. It needs to do a refresh, and there it is, pops it up. And if I'm there, it's got the names in there. So if I'm online, it'll populate the names and all that good stuff. So yeah, I've really been enjoying it. I enjoy it so much because of the call roster, and I'm just choosing the first couple up at the top because that's the ones that I've heard more recently. That call roster will give you the stations that you're looking for. If you're searching for grids, new grids, those stations will pop up there, and then you just simply click on their call sign, and it starts the transmission. So it really couldn't be easier, I don't think. It looks a little intimidating at first if you're not used to the digital modes, but really once you get going, it's really very simple. And like I said, if the band's dead, that's where I go. I go over to FT8. And the last part I'll talk about is the solar installation. And I went to Quartz Fest last year, and I took in some seminars, and one was done by a gentleman in South Dakota, and I can't think of his call, but I've been in touch with him because he had a spectacular portable solar installation. And if I remember right, it was 10,000 watts, 10,000 or 11,500 watts for a portable solar. And when he takes it home, he hooks it up to his house. He's over by a lake here in South Dakota. But I had a good friend that he bought a bunch of different parts and started putting his together. And he ran into so much trouble, I decided that I'm just going to go ahead and buy a kit, because the kit had everything that I needed. And, you know, if I don't have to determine what the wire size is. I don't have to determine what controller goes with what solar panels. So the kit was much easier. And I think I'd do it again in a kit too. The things that we talked about out in Arizona was the controller. There's a couple of kinds, and one's a MPPT, and that's what the kind that came in my kit. And it's a little bit better than the other one. The other one's a PWM, and this is just a little bit more efficient. The solar panels, there's monocrystalline and polycrystalline, and I've got a monocrystalline, and they're just a little bit better than the polycrystalline. They're just a little bit more efficient. And it came with everything I needed to mount it to the top. I just laid them flat on top of my roof on the camper, and I've got a couple of AGM batteries, 100 amp hour batteries, and those have been holding up real good. This last trip to Arizona, the sun was out all the time, so I really didn't need to use my generator. So and I could operate my radio all day long. all the stuff inside my camper, not the air conditioner or the microwave, but everything else I could operate off the battery bank. The one problem I had was my inverter. I've got a 1500 watt inverter, and it stopped working on me, so I'll have to take a closer look at that. And that's another source of noise getting into the radio, the inverter. So I didn't use it very much anyway. Just used it to turn on the television. So I wasn't using it very much, and so I didn't have much noise. This is the way it hooked it up, and the instructions came with the kit. I've got 2 batteries in parallel, and I just put them underneath the one of the seats in the camper. The batteries hooked together, and mounted in there so they don't slide around. And I got an LCD. Another nice thing about that controller, this one is a Bluetooth controller, so it's got an app to go along with it. So if I'm outside, I can look and see what it's doing. And it just makes it really convenient. But I've also got an LCD up on the wall that I can quickly look at and tell if it's charging. So that's been that was a pretty big project, but it was just worth a lot more than I ever imagined. I don't have to run my generator during the day. I don't have to run my generator at night, because the battery bank takes care of everything. My refrigerator, the heater down in Arizona, it was still getting cold at night, but it ran my furnace. So it worked out real good. So I think if anything, I'm going to improve upon it, and maybe try to beef it up just a little bit. Maybe I'll go with 400 watts and another couple of batteries, but it just depends on what all I'm going to put into the camper. So that's about it. And like I said, to make it more enjoyable for me, I needed an antenna launcher, that antenna analyzer, and this solar kit. That's what has made it more enjoyable. And location, antenna, as a friend of mine says. It's all about the antenna. So that's all I've got. And I guess we'll open it up. If you have any questions, I'll stop to share. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if I can't answer them, I'll get back to you on it.
Rich, I got a question on this solar kit that you're using. So many things uses a lot of watts. For instance, hair dryer is 1500. How does the 200 water that you have work out? I mean, how many watts does the radio need, or how does that work out?
Yeah, well, I didn't really know, and you can get on these calculations. You get on a website and calculate it all, but I choose to just fly by the seat of my pants, and I got 200 watts and 2 batteries, and decided to try it out, and it did work. I didn't need to run my generator, but it was always sunny outside, and I'm not going to be in a place that's always sunny. I'll be up in maybe Montana, and it won't be sunny every day. So I'll need to make up for it. So I think I'll add probably 2 solar panels and maybe 2 batteries. And that may be a little overkill, but you never know when the sun's going to go behind the clouds. But yeah, the 200 watts and 2 batteries works fine if it's always sunny.
Rich, are you doing anything for extended cellular service?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. Say that again.
Are you doing anything for extended cellular to get cellular signal into your unit from a distance?
Yeah, that's a real good question, and that is one of the things I pointed out. That's really important to me to have that cellular data, because my logging programs, hrdlog.net, I upload to it, and it lets people know where I am. So, excuse me, I always try to have cellular data, and I've got an AT&T plan. It's one of their, it's a maxed out plan. It's it's unlimited, and I've got a plan for my phone. I've got a plan for my iPad, And if I get to a place that's weak, I've got a booster, and I use the booster all the time anyway. But you know, I don't know. I guess it was working pretty good, because I was telling a friend of mine, I got down to some places in Arizona, and I was getting 50 megabit download speeds, and you know, that's pretty amazing for cellular data. You know, if you got a cable subscription, you that's probably a lower package in the cable subscriptions, but still, that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I think the booster will probably help me. It's at one point or another, and it probably already has helped. But I didn't have any trouble with that AT&T plan down there, so I was pretty happy with it.
Any more questions? Come on, you guys were chatting us up before we started.
Yeah, it looks like you usually park your camper out in the middle of nowhere instead of being in a normal campground. Do you always go away from those?
No, I do need to get a campground every now and then. I really like the state park campgrounds. It, some of the state park campgrounds are just so nice. Ones in New Mexico are really nice. The ones in South Dakota are really nice if you can find a spot. In the summertime, they really get taken up. You know, it's not first come, first serve all the time. But when I go to I went to one in where was it? I think it was Las Cruces. I went to one there, and you know, when the campers are really close, I get some noise, the noise generated from the other campers. But with the 7300, it's still bearable. Yeah, because I'm operating off of battery power, and when I don't have my inverter turned on, I don't have very much noise. And when other people are close to me, it's still bearable. You know, I can use the RF gain to cut down some noise, and I use the noise blanker and noise reduction. Noise blanker really doesn't do much good unless you know, it's an alternator going by, but the noise reduction does work really good on the 7300.
Do you run antennas too then, or do you run off the mounts on the RV?
Yeah, that's I haven't put up any. I didn't do my flagpole antenna while I was down there in a campground, because I didn't want to disturb the other people. I could make a vertical out of that flagpole though, and just run a wire up to the top of it. And I might try that one time. Put the 9-to-1 on it, and run a 30-foot wire to the top. But that's where the high Q comes in, and the high Q, it works so good that I can call the net using that antenna, and I've done it lots of times. And so people tell me that I get out as good as when I'm at home. So, you know, the difference between the ICOM 7300 audio and the 7610 audio there's not much difference. I've got them both set up the same way. You know, they can't tell if I'm at home. So yeah, I go where yeah, I prefer to be out and away, but I like going to the campgrounds. Some of them are really nice.